And welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast. I am Mark Storrs, and with me as always is...
Chris Gonzalez.
And...
Rob Morphy.
Thank you for joining us. Ratings and reviews are always appreciated for this podcast. You can do that on the iTunes, the Apple Podcast apps. Leave us a 5-star review. That would be very awesome of you, and we would be very appreciative of it.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Social medias, Instagrams, Twitters, and Facebooks. Hit us up there. Come hang out. Say what's up. Shoot us some DMs. We love hearing from our good listeners.
Truly.
We appreciate the support as always. This week, kind of fun. We're sticking in France.
It's true.
We were there.
We've been there recently.
We were there.
We were there. We're going back.
Have any of us actually been to France?
No.
Briefly.
You were?
I can narrowly call it this because I was riding a train, I guess, between Germany and, fuck all knows where, maybe Switzerland or somewhere, Austria. And I went through a corner of France. Cool. So I will not say I've been to France.
You drove through it.
But have I geographically flown through in the fucking bullet train? Yeah.
All right. Nice.
Did I get to explore any of these wonderful alien mysteries? I have not. But France is fucking riddled with some of the most spectacular close encounters of the third kind and some of the most famous and impressive ufologists ever. Jacques Vallée. Oh, yeah? The list goes on and on. Nice. So France is really a fucking hotbed for ufology.
So this week we were talking about the Draguignan Entities. If the French New Wave maestro Jean-Luc Godard had decided to film a neo-realist sci-fi interpretation of a Hardy Boys mystery, it could have been no more thought-provoking, surreal, or disconcerting than the actual events that purportedly befell a group of unsuspecting French youths in the autumn of 1973.
Jeez.
Indeed, it could not have.
All right.
So,
wow.
Good Lord knows, as the cinephile I am, I would love if Jean-Luc Godard had attempted to do just such.
Okay.
He did not, however, but we still have this story.
All right. Let's do it up, Robert.
Positioned in the southeastern corner of France, the city of Draguignan rests in the shadow of Les Melmonts, which literally translates, I swear to God, to Evil Mountain.
Oh my God.
Yes. Evil Mountain. It's
pretty
Why
dope.
not? The name of the city itself has an ominous origin, as Draguignan was derived from Draconum, the Latin name for dragon, after, according to legend, a bishop named Saint Hermantaire slayed a reptilian beast, thereby saving the local populace.
Oh, shit.
Right. This place is pretty metal.
I think he was probably made a saint after he slayed the dragon. I don't think he was a saint, went down, slayed the dragon. I think that accomplishment garnered him that awesome status.
That's part
kind
of the
of
deal.
like, St. George.
Right.
Yeah.
But so we've got dragons and an evil mountain. We already know this place is fucking
It's a Rhapsody album.
wound for sound.
It really is. This is a total Rhapsody of Fire record.
Nowadays, the remote community of Draguignan is known for its various vineyards, rugged hills, and a 5,000-year-old monolithic Stonehenge-like structure known as Pierre de la Fay. But in the fall of 1973, it was also notorious for being the site of one of the strangest close encounters to have ever taken place on European soil, or anywhere else for that matter. At about 8:30 p.m. on Friday, October 19th, 1973, a young man named Gabriel Demogue, I'm going to say this, I always say it, I'm going to ruin all French names, just so everyone knows, and his unidentified girlfriend felt the salty sea wind whip against their faces as he cranked the gas on his motorcycle, roaring up the hilly, narrow, thicket-lined path that cut its way up the nearly 2,000-foot granite face of Les Melmonts toward a secluded plateau that was known to be a haven for young lovers.
Oh, no. See?
Little hanky-panky.
He's not going to the dump like we would.
No.
Yeah.
No, this isn't upstate New York, my friends. We are in France.
Nice.
Oh, is that their bowl point?
Totally.
That's where you go to have bowl point time.
The plateau was a scenic overlook with a stunning panoramic view of the entire region extending all the way to the deep blue hues of the Mediterranean. The rectangular lookout was surrounded by hedges and a low wall. It also had a built-in table and a pair of benches to let spectators enjoy the spectacular view. Gabriel's inamorata snuggled in closer and tightened her grip around his torso in anticipation of the romantic evening to come. She couldn't possibly have anticipated that the trajectory of the evening, at least for Gabriel, would not be toward passion, but abject terror.
Oh, it's second best thing.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Passion, abject terror.
Yeah.
There you go.
When the couple was only half a mile away from the overlook, the smitten girl suddenly noticed a vivid orange-yellow ball in the sky above them. The luminous object was roughly the size of a melon. Now, they say this, and I assume it could be a cantaloupe, it could be a watermelon. I'm not sure what melon, but I also think it's probably distance playing hell.
Perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's roughly the size of a melon and surrounded by a lighter-colored halo that appeared to be revolving around it. Which I think reminds me a little bit of the thing that was seen floating around Cisco Grove, but I could be wrong about that, where there was a small orbiting thing.
I sort of remember that, but
I could be
haven't
totally off base
I haven't
with this.
heard that episode in a while.
There are so many different close encounters, I could be just
Right.
crossing the streams. Weirder still, the strange UFO seemed to be traveling on the same course as the motorcycle and heading toward the top of the mountain. The thing was soaring in an easterly direction just over the tree line and was less than 2,000 feet away from the cycling couple. At that moment, Gabriel noticed the radiant orange orb and stopped his bike, killing the engine. It was then that the duo noted that the UFO was utterly silent. They stared in astonishment as the aerial anomaly flew up the southern face of the mountain and disappeared beyond the crest, apparently landing and emitting a reddish glow that was clearly visible through the trees. That reminds me a little bit of Flatwoods. The pulsating, even though this isn't pulsating, this is like a steady red glow through the. You can just see the silhouetted, gnarly autumnal branches and the red light just beaming through. Like Steve McQueen in The Blob, Gabriel was eager to get to the peak of the evil mountain to see exactly what had landed there. But his girlfriend was too terrified, or maybe level-headed, to continue this trek into the unknown, and she insisted that he bring her home. Gabriel complied, then quickly set out to find a more adventurous group to accompany him back up the mountain.
So he dropped his girlfriend off, and then was like, all right, guys, we're going to find this shit.
I mean, it's 73.
Yeah, pretty
It's
much.
a bunch of, I mean, I don't know if they're like in their teens or early 20s, but it was indicated that they were young.
Okay.
So they're just a bunch of young men dicking around, killing time. Hence the reference to the neo-realist films of Jean-Luc Godard, like Breathless and all those people that were just talking about the listless French youth that were the first generation born post-World War II.
Yes, those people that
Those
I know
people
so well, Rob. Yes.
if you were a fan of French New Wave cinema,
Nah, I'm
as
sorry.
I know you are in your
I
heart,
think I am.
regardless,
Is Blade Runner French New Wave cinema?
it is not, but it was slightly influenced by
Okay.
it.
All right. Well, that's what I think of when I think of French New Wave cinema, even though it's not
I
French
have
New Wave
no
cinema.
idea why.
I don't know, because it looks cool.
Yeah,
There's no context for that.
I don't know.
Make stuff up.
Fucking Google
Yeah.
it.
Fifth Element? Is that one?
No.
All right,
I mean, it was made by a French guy, but it's not fucking new
What?
wave at all.
Okay.
Cocoon?
It's certainly not neo-realist. In fact,
We're just talking about movies
Fifth
now.
Element is the exact opposite of neo-realism, and Cocoon is just a gem.
Beverly Hills
a
Cop.
little heartwarming.
I love Beverly Hills Cop.
That could be
Batteries not included?
neo-surrealism.
Okay. Ice Pirates, my favorite.
All right, fuck it. Can we please get
All
back?
right, I'm
None
sorry.
of the Bluff Farmers.
Okay.
Oh, God. Crawl.
Gabriel dropped off his girlfriend and went to find his fucking posse to,
All right.
to
Yeah,
say,
deal with
listen,
this.
we
All
need to
Go
fucking
check this out.
check this out.
It's a meteor. We can get money.
The moment he dropped his girlfriend home, Gabriel tracked down a group of buddies and told them of what he had seen. The group consisted of Elaine Lecca, Georges Macret, and Christian Bensa. It didn't take long for Gabriel to convince this intrepid trio to accompany him back up Mount Evil to find the source of the strange light. Gabriel abandoned his motorcycle and climbed into Elaine's R8, which I assume is a French type of car.
Okay,
That's how it
cool.
was referred to. While Christian grabbed shotgun in George's Fiat 128. Within seconds, the foursome were barreling toward the mountain and, much to their eternal chagrin, into one of the weirdest chapters in the history of ufology. Within minutes, the group reached the panorama overlook, where the drivers of both cars sagely maneuvered the vehicles so that they were facing back toward the narrow road they had just ascended, in case circumstances might create the need for an abrupt descent. Their instincts would serve them well.
Foreshadowing.
Indeed. The drivers killed their engines, and all four men gathered at the panorama table, waiting for their eyes to adjust to the darkness. As soon as the assembled posse exited the cars, they spied a diffuse white glow coming from the apex of the Melmont, or Le Melmont, some 260 feet above them. So, this is not a mistake on my part. It was red when it initially landed.
Oh,
It is
okay.
now white.
Okay.
The men also heard peculiar noises, which they indicated sounded vaguely like radio interference combined with a modulated whistle. I can't even really wrap my head around this.
What does that mean?
But the investigators on the case sort of went out of their way to say that was the best estimation the men could make. It was very hard. Like, they had a hard time nailing the sound. Just this weird future fucking slide whistle combined with, I guess, bursts of radio static. It's strange.
Weird.
These sounds were emanating from the direction of the bright object. With the strange sounds and unidentified luminous thing in the distance, it's easy to imagine the excitement that must have been coursing through these young men's veins at the prospect of telling their friends about this unique experience. Little could they have expected that their thrilling interlude with the unknown was about to take a turn toward the terrifying. It was Georges who first realized something was amiss when, while leaning against the table, the slab below his palms suddenly became excruciatingly hot. He lunged back, and he and the rest of the group felt an oppressive wave of heat pass through them. That's not something you want.
Okay.
That's just not something you need. Hot hands. Fucking...
No.
That kind of like... You know what I imagine? It's like when like a gust of wind hits on like a mid-August day and you're standing next to like blacktop.
Oh, yeah.
And you get that hot asphalt fucking billowing right
The
at you.
hot ass wind.
And you're just like, fuck.
Yep.
That's not fun. The astonished men glanced at one another in utter bewilderment, and that was when one of them noticed a red light swiftly descending the stone-covered path that led from the glowing summit to the plateau they were occupying. The red radiance was accompanied by the sounds of rocks crunching and pebbles falling as if something extremely heavy were making its way down the trail. The four frightened friends dove for cover. Gabriel, Georges, and Christian took shelter behind the wall situated around the overlook, while Elaine took refuge where he stood by laying down across one of the benches that was adjacent to the table. As the light got closer, the volume of the odd, staticky screech also increased. So this weird modulated whistle radio interference sound was getting louder as the light approached. The men stared in silent horror as the red light emerged from the footpath, revealing that the glow was wedged into the torso at about waist level of a dark silhouette, which they estimated to be about 9 feet in height. The massive, vaguely humanoid form appeared to be not only taller and wider than the average human, but also had what seemed to be a flat-topped head or helmet with no apparent neck.
Is this Krang?
So it's fucking super Krang.
It's Krang, yeah.
The bulky being made its way into the clearing, employing jerky, almost robotic movements until it was about 80 feet from the eyewitnesses and nearly 65 feet away from Elaine's vehicle. Despite the distance, one thing was clear to the stunned observers. If they wanted to make it to the cars from their hiding spots, they'd have to figure a way to get past the colossal creature with the crimson belt buckle. Elaine, the closest of the four, inaudibly indicated that his friend should remain concealed behind the wall, and the crew watched as the being stopped its approach and bent over as though picking something up. The automaton-like entity remained in this bent position for over 30 seconds before it suddenly straightened up. It was then that things got even scarier as the inscrutable individual seemed to sense that it was being watched.
Not good.
No, never good. Without warning, both the scarlet radiance and the unearthly electronic whistling were abruptly extinguished, immersing the already frightened men in a sea of silent darkness. Within a few seconds, the stillness was broken by the sounds of snapping branches. Then, in the little light provided by the moon, they saw Elaine's car being shaken violently by the odd entity. So I guess it doesn't like the R8.
It's like a space Frankenstein or something.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
With a sweet glowing belt buckle.
There you go.
The apparent assault on the R8 would prove to be the final straw, and panic began to set in on the makeshift paranormal posse, particularly those situated behind the wall. Elaine, who had managed to keep the coolest head, realized that his friends had reached their breaking point and began to motion to them that the time had come for them to make their escape. Georges and Christian made a mad dash for the Fiat. The pair had already agreed that if the vehicle refused to start, they would scamper down a nearby ravine and hide behind the bushes. Luck, however, was with them, and the engine started without a hitch. The duo flew down the hill like bats out of hell, leaving Gabriel, Elaine, and the lumbering thing in their proverbial and literal dust. But if they assumed that their ordeal was over, they would be in for a rude awakening. But more on that in a moment. For now, let's remain at the overlook with Elaine and Gabriel.
So they bailed on Elaine and Gabriel.
They just took off. They were like, fuck all this.
Did they tell Elaine? I mean, is it like a two-door? Is it a Fiat? I've never seen one. Is it a two-door car or something?
I have no idea. I literally have no idea
I don't know.
what
Well,
either
there are all
of these
kinds of
cars look
versions
like.
now.
I mean, there's got to be room. I mean, unless it's is
They're
like
not big cars.
Is it like a smart car or something? Like,
Well, not in
No.
73.
Well, I mean, obviously not in 73, but is it the size of a smart car?
You mean tiny?
No, they're bigger than
Yeah.
that, but I mean, they're.
I mean, a lot of European cars of this era were compact.
Right.
It would have been an easy Google for me.
Probably.
I did not do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even
I
the
did not
Fiats
do it
now
because-
are not big.
I think Elaine did not want to leave his car behind, and so I think they put in their heads,
Right.
we will return in the cars we came up in for whatever
All right.
reason.
Well, it's suspect to leave Elaine and Gabriel there.
Well,
but
yeah,
whatever.
that's a little shitty, but
Yeah.
terror is as terror does.
All right. Well, I wouldn't leave you guys anywhere.
Well, I appreciate
Even
that.
if you did dump out my coffee, I wouldn't leave you anywhere.
Oh my God.
Continue.
Stop.
Tiny gun.
This is for Chris.
Tiny gun.
Tiny gun. Poo, poo, poo.
Fuckers.
Don't get the big gun.
Oh, God damn it. Gabriel, who had shot out from behind the wall hot on the heels of Georges and Christian, made a beeline for the R8 with Elaine right behind him. They were relieved that the mastodonic menace seemed to have stopped jarring the vehicle, but just as they were about to throw the doors open, a powerful beam of blinding white light shot down from the mountaintop, bathing the duo in its arresting glare.
Is it Jesus?
It probably is
Okay,
Jesus.
good. Just checking.
Or it might be the
Probably.
UFO.
Well,
It's one of the two.
at this point, it could be.
Hell or space.
Indeed.
There you go.
Gabriel and Elaine flung themselves flat onto the ground next to the car, convinced that they were being targeted by some sort of extraterrestrial beam weapon. After a few seconds, however, the light was extinguished and the pair pulled themselves up and entered the vehicle post-haste. Elaine stuck his key in the ignition, but, in a tradition long established by horror cinema, the engine refused to start. At this point, Gabriel had all been but reduced to a blubbering mess, but Elaine kept his composure, got out of the car, and gave it a shove to start it rolling down the hill.
Okay.
Not a bad move.
No, smart.
Yeah, put it in neutral.
I like that he's keeping his wits about him.
Yeah.
Elaine is like the go-to at this point.
Yeah.
Elaine jumped back into the moving vehicle, gave the key a second crank, and the engine roared to life. But after driving less than 10 feet, he slowed to a stop and glanced behind him. The petrified Gabriel also looked back, and in the crimson glow of the brake lights, the duo saw the first entity coming down the path behind them, followed by a second identical creature and a third that appeared to be slightly smaller, though no less intimidating than the first two.
Dude, we got the trio.
Got a trio. In the cherry red glare of the R8's brake lights, the young men were able to get their first detailed look at their pursuers. Elaine would later tell investigators that the first two resembled mammoth mechanized men that appeared to be almost 10 feet tall with square heads complete with two luminous rectangular apertures at the level of the eyes.
Interesting.
So eye holes or
Rectangle eyes.
robot eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The smallest of the threesome stood in excess of 6 feet and looked as if it was wearing a type of gas mask with a tube that connected to its chest. Unlike the other two, its head was rounded and it had no apparent eyes. The breathing apparatus appeared to be enclosed by a flowing material that was described as a mobile veil, which is a fucking weird thing.
Mobile
I think it
veil.
just means that it's like dangly fabric. You know what? You know what? Who is the sound engineer in Space Ghost Coast to Coast? Not Zorak, not Brack, Moltar.
Oh, yeah.
So
Moltar.
I imagine a thing like that,
right.
with a rounded
with a weird
head,
veil.
but like just like billowy fabric, but a big giant elephantine trunk-like tube coming
Right.
out that just loops around and connects right to the chest.
Okay.
At least that's what the eyewitness illustration.
This kind of reminds
basically
me
looks
of.
like.
This sort of reminds me of what the hell's the one with the two robots and then the alien things and they chase the guy up a tree.
Cisco Grove.
Cisco Grove. Yeah, it kind of reminds me
Oh.
of Cisco Grove. Yeah.
Indeed, in fact, I make a reference
Okay.
to that a little bit later. In fact, very soon. But you're right. A gas mask wearing humanoid
Yeah.
Oh,
with
yeah.
with a couple of robots.
Yeah.
is 100% fucking Cisco Grove.
Totally Cisco Grove.
Which makes you wonder, because we'll talk about that in a second.
Oh, okay.
The enigmatic entities.
There it is.
You're all welcome. All appeared, and that's in case you're playing the drinking game. All appeared to be wearing red one-piece suits with lights inserted in the ventral or abdominal region. Elaine would later admit that he was unsure whether or not the suits were actually red or simply looked that way in the reflection of the brake lights. Reasonable.
Fair enough.
Could have been silver, metallic, could have been
Science.
something
Yeah.
reflective. Both Elaine and Gabriel agreed that the creature's gait seemed to be methodical almost to the point of being mechanical, but they could not be sure if it meant that the beings were clad in protective suits that, not unlike astronauts, inhibited their movements, or if they were actual automatons.
Okay.
It's worth noting, and this is where Cisco Grove comes in, that this was not the first time that a pair of outsized robots were reported in the company of a smaller gas mask-clad creature. Just 9 years before, on September 4th, 1964, a bow hunter named Donald Shrum claimed to have been attacked by just such entities in a remote region of California known as Cisco Grove. I can't help but think we might be talking about...
There's a tie together there. Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I mean, a lot of especially the cases we talk about, are unique, one and done, strange things, be it cryptozoological, you know, close encounter wise. But maybe it's not just Greys making repeat visits.
Right. Maybe
Georgia Stalks made a couple other visits, but people just didn't want to talk about it before they fucking died of atomic brain cancer. So, you know, it's interesting. Not verifiable in any way, but interesting.
There's a thread.
So let's get back to the scene on the road. Elaine had stopped the car. The enormous entities were less than 20 feet from Elaine's vehicle and appeared to be closing in quickly when they abruptly stopped in their tracks. Compelled more by curiosity than concern, Elaine did what most would consider unthinkable. He put his car into reverse and went back until he had cut the distance between themselves and their trackers in half.
Wow.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
He's fast and furiousing.
Yeah,
really.
Know. Yeah.
I don't know if I would do. Like, I don't know if I would have stopped the first time, much less reversed.
Is he gonna Tokyo drift his way out of this?
Yeah.
Or like
he's getting closer and closer to these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Gabriel was nearly beside himself as he watched the beings begin to move forward again. But the undaunted Elaine opened his car door, put one foot on the dirt road, and leaned out of the vehicle. He then turned toward the encroaching creatures and shouted the same question 3 times in succession. Are you good or are you bad?
Oh, God. Man.
Fundamentals. That's what you want to know at this point. You don't need to know anything like where do you come from, what's your agenda. Are you good?
What do you want?
Or are you bad?
Are you good or are you bad?
God.
Okay.
Was Peyton there?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, seriously.
Is he 7?
Is this your niece? Jesus Christ.
Maybe it's a spiritual animal.
Are you good or are you bad?
Are you good or are you bad? One more time. Seemingly recognizing Elaine's query as language, the being nearest to the vehicle turned toward the other 2 creatures and began to communicate with its cohorts in the same series of radiostatic bursts and modulated whistles that the foursome had heard earlier. Following their brief conference, the entities resumed their pursuit at an even faster clip.
See, now you fucked up because you asked them the question 3 times, are you good or are you bad, which you don't do to aliens or anything paranormal or cryptozoological.
Never try to communicate.
Yeah, don't, because then they talk, you can't understand them, and then they're like, yeah, fuck this, it's on now. Now we're going to get you quicker.
Well, yeah,
we're clearly bad.
Are they out there like collecting for a intergalactic zoo?
Doesn't matter.
Are they just looking for samples? Are they more excited now that these
like,
creatures have communication?
Talks. Yeah. Oh, look at this.
Maybe there's a piece of information they need to really give.
That's true too.
Everyone was always so afraid, and we never get it.
It's true. The alien agenda.
Elaine might be the hero you've been looking for, Chris.
Okay.
Gabriel demanded that his friend get back in and continue driving. Elaine complied, but this time he only managed to get about 160 feet or so before he felt compelled to stop a second time.
Dude, you got to just get out of there, dude.
He's not going to do it.
All right.
That is not Elaine's agenda.
All right.
Elaine checked the rearview mirror. The ostensibly alien entities were no longer behind them. He paused, made a fateful decision, and pulled the R8 into a small turnabout and started driving back up the motherfucking mountain.
Dude, you got to just bail, dude.
Not him.
No. I mean, a man amongst men. But still.
Fuck.
Damn, Elaine.
Elaine would later admit that it was not just curiosity that motivated him to turn around and make the potentially catastrophic move of confronting this titanic trio from another world, but a sense of his obligation as a member of the human race to reach out and make contact with these extraterrestrial life forms.
It's a stretch, but all right.
Despite the danger, it seems he was determined not to waste this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Not to say that wasn't his intention, but we've heard this before with the guy that was kicking the cans
Oh yeah, the Long Prairie Tin Man.
He was doing it for America.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
going to defend.
this is a
Well, he was going
little
to push a rocket
different.
over to defend America. Elaine is actually trying.
And I'm not
to communicate.
I want to make it known I'm not disparaging Elaine because clearly he is just he is pedal to the metal. He's doing it. But
You know who's not happy about this?
me,
Gabriel.
all right.
Yeah,
well,
I was going to say, like,
yeah, if this is a situation with the three
He's
of
already
us,
shitting bricks.
yeah.
And so you got to imagine, like, if I was in a car with this motherfucker, I would be losing my fuck-sucking mind at this point.
Yeah.
This is just ridiculous. And it's bad enough that fucking Elaine wants to be suicidal about it, but you're going to
You're gonna
take
Gabriel
poor
with you?
Gabriel down with you?
Gabriel wants to get in the car and bail on Elaine.
Gabriel, in full-fledged panic mode, begged his comrade to turn the car around. Crazed with fear, he punched and pulled at the driver, but Elaine, proving to be among the absolute worst friend in human history, ignored his pleas, rolled up his window, turned his headlights on high, and continued up the desolate, bracken-lined lane. In what must have been one of the longest and most anxiety-inducing rides in history, especially from Gabriel's point of view, the pair watchfully made their way back up to the plateau. But there were no longer any traces of their unusual pursuers, save for the whitish glow that still eerily capped the top of Les Mamans. That's my French.
No, it's sweet.
In a decidedly delicious twist of irony, Elaine, who had driven the struggling Gabriel back up this nightmare mountain against his will, suddenly began to feel an acute sense of dread seep into his consciousness. He started to imagine the three alien giants lying in wait for them just beyond his field of vision, waiting to pounce and steal them from their car for purposes too nefarious to imagine.
Oh, no.
To Gabriel's eternal relief, Elaine cautiously turned the R8 around, and at twice the speed they ascended, he barreled down the bumpy road, leaving the light and burly beings in their wake. So, his attempt to recommunicate, for all his courage, even though super douchey. I gotta say, if I was with fucking somebody, I don't know how close Elaine and Gabriel are, I might have to punch them the fuck out. I mean, I wouldn't leave my friend behind. I wouldn't throw them out of the car. I wouldn't try to fucking do any permanent damage. I would hope that the hit to the head wouldn't cause any, neurological shit that would like fucking enfeeble them.
Brain bleeding.
Well, yeah.
But I would totally have to give like a cross section to the jaw and get behind the wheel to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
Something.
I mean, pure panic knows no boundary.
Terror ensues, yeah.
But then there's another part of me that is the fucking, the cryptozoologist, that is the wanting to know. There's like, these things haven't done anything forthrightly aggressive.
Right. That's right.
They were moving at a fast clip.
All right, they're moving at a fast clip. But maybe they
But
just
that's
wanted to get
just
even
moving.
closer.
Yeah.
Maybe like fucking Johnny Siyama, they needed to fucking get their super bong lips against his temple to communicate their fucking message or something. Who knows what robots have to do? Robots have different fucking skill sets, maybe.
Okay.
But I can see it from both point of views, but my empathy really goes towards Gabriel, who must have been like, I would be done with him at this point. I would never talk to that fucker again.
Yeah, I'd be out.
I know he brought everyone up, but all he thought, hey, it's a light on a hill. I got my buddies. We're going to have a good time. He wasn't fucking signing up for this shit.
No.
It's fucking nuts.
You gotta bail, dude.
All right, at this point, we're going to fucking rewind the scene.
Okay.
Now let's pull a Tarantino and rewind to just 10 minutes prior when Georges and Christian piled into the Fiat 128, leaving their friends behind to fend for themselves. So we're going to follow this route.
All right.
At just about the same time that Gabriel and Elaine were bathed in the blinding white light, Georges and Christian, who were just over 300 feet away flying down the hill in the Fiat, saw something they would never forget. On the narrow dirt path, less than 6 feet in front of them, the terrified twosome saw a pair of red glowing legs emerge from the dense thickets of holm oak and cross the road in just 2 strides in front of the car. Georges slammed on the brakes and cranked the wheel to the left in order to avoid a collision with the seemingly self-propelled slacks.
There's just
Red pants, man.
Oh, my. Yeah, well.
Glowing red pants that are just booking across the road. It is fucking on.
Okay, all right. This is where it gets
It's
interesting.
an unoriginal creepypasta.
And I saw the red pants.
Dude, red pants? You ever heard of red pants?
Dude.
Oh
Red
my God,
pants.
could you imagine the curse of the red
You can't look
pants?
in the mirror, dude. If you see red pants, you can't look in the mirror.
Oh, it'll follow you home.
It'll kill you in your sleep.
It'll stomp you to death.
Yeah.
Fucking
It'll permanent press you. Before the startled eyewitnesses could even react to the unbelievable sight of glowing red pants sprinting of their own accord, they were alarmed by the fact that both the Fiat's dashboard and headlights went out simultaneously, leaving them completely in the dark. A moment later, the stunned friends jumped when the electrical systems suddenly reignited. So, fucking weird bulky alien thing with a fucking glowing red belt buckle, UFO on the hill, shooting down a bumpy ass hilly dirt road down a 2,000-foot granite peak. 6 foot ahead of you, red slacks, boom. You fucking jam on the brakes, turn to the side, and all of a sudden, boom, everything goes out.
Oh, God.
That's a fucking recipe for fucking lifetime of therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is fucking horrible.
You're never wearing red pants again.
Georges wasted no time in adjusting the wheel and accelerating away from the scene. Christian, much like his buddy Gabriel, was too upset to cope with this increasingly bizarre series of situations, and as soon as Georges resumed driving, he slumped down beneath the dashboard.
Smart way to do it.
He's fucking out.
You're
Gabriel's fucking out.
Yeah. Dude, just go.
Oh, well, no, Gabriel's with Elaine, my bad.
Right.
Fucking
Georges.
Christian.
Sorry.
I'm going to give you... Gabriel's like, I'm going to fucking punch you to death if you don't turn this fucking car around, Elaine.
And this guy's going beneath the dashboard.
Fucking Christian's like, all right, bad enough we had to deal with a fucking alien, but red slacks,
It's so
done.
weird.
I'm slipping under.
Red pants are so weird. All right.
Once Georges got off the mountain, he pulled into a parking area off the main road some 500 feet away, praying that Elaine and Gabriel would be right behind them. When he saw no headlights coming down the rock-strewn path, his mind began racing with thoughts of all of the heinous shit that could be happening to his friends.
Yeah, it's not good.
No. Despite his guilt, fear got the best of Georges, and not only was he unable to muster the courage to go back up the hill, but he confessed that he waited only about 10 seconds before he and the still cowering Christian took off for Draguignan at speeds far in excess of the legal limit. 10 seconds is fuck-sucking nothing.
Yeah, no, you're just like, go.
I gotta say, if I was in a car with somebody and I was waiting for fucking you and Chris to come down,
Right.
I'd like to think I would go back up the hill to get you. But I'm waiting more than 10 seconds.
Right. I
Yeah.
hope. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, it also reminds me of the Travis Walton situation where he's all ballsy. He's the Elaine of that group.
Yeah,
he's the
yeah,
lumberjack
yeah.
Elaine, and he's out there going, "Hey, what's with the UFO?" He gets zapped into oblivion.
And his
They
friends are
take
like,
off
"See
like
ya."
bats out of hell,
Yeah.
but then they feel guilty. Some of them are scared. Others are like, fuck it, we got to go. They go back up, and he's nowhere to be found. And, of course, we all know that the terrible guilt that consumed them.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
especially when-
thankfully their buddy turned up some days later.
Especially when they show back up, because you got to face that guy and be like, sorry, dude.
Yeah, but
my
better,
bad.
like, as bad as that is, can you imagine if he had never shown back up?
Yeah.
I remember watching this great documentary on that, and I'm not going to digress too much. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel, of all things. Mm. And I've never seen it again, but it was like a 2-hour breakdown, and just half of the guys retelling it, you know, some 40 years later, how long it was, were literally breaking down into tears.
Oh, wow, really?
To me, that's one of the most compelling cases ever.
Right.
Of course, as I say often, we're going to do that eventually.
At some point, we'll get there, yeah.
It's a big one. It's one of the most famous ones, sort of like Flatwoods and others. But that'll come. Right now, we're still in France.
All right.
And
You got red pants, you got robots.
We got Christian under the dash.
Yeah.
We got Georges waiting all of 10 seconds for his friends to show up, and they did not, so he fucking just speeds out of there.
All right.
Just over half a mile down the road, Georges glanced outside the passenger side window and, to his eternal horror, once again spied the self-illuminated red legs. It's in hot pursuit.
Oh, no.
Ugh.
This time, they were speedily descending a steep, shrub-covered slope headed toward the passenger side of the vehicle.
No, they are literally in hot pursuit.
Bad enough.
They're coming at you.
I mean, they were, when they were driving down the hill, it was like 6 or so feet ahead of them, just a couple of meters ahead of them.
Right.
And they could clearly see no torso, no head, no arms.
Right.
I don't know if they could see no feet at that point. But at this point, they can see no feet. It's just
Pants.
fucking red pants. And it's just booking down this steep slope right at them. It's laughable. It's absurd.
It's a little bit
Well, yeah.
ridiculous, yeah.
But still, when you pile it on with all the other shit they've been dealing with, it's fucking terrible.
Par for the course, dude.
In
There you
Draguignan.
go. And when in Draguignan,
That's what you do.
you fear the red pants.
Not interested in having another car-stopping close encounter with the mysterious legs. Remember, it seemed to cut out the electricity last time, so who knows what could have happened that time.
Right.
Georges hit the gas and accelerated past the red pants before they reached the road. Mercifully, Christian missed this second encounter as he was still huddled below the dashboard.
That's gonna send him over the edge.
Yeah, no, if he had seen this,
Jesus
the
Christ.
booking down the hill pants,
Done. Yeah.
he's
out.
going to go to a special place
Yeah, I get it. I would too.
with padded rooms. As if their journey hadn't already been harrowing enough, the fates would have one more shock in store for Georges and Christian, and this one would nearly cost them their lives.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's about to get real.
All right.
Georges was driving the Fiat at a more reasonable speed of about 40 miles per hour on a smooth, straight stretch of gravel-free road halfway between Melmont and Draguignan when the inexplicable occurred.
Oh, Jesus.
The terrifying moment was described by noted ufologist Jean Chassins. I think I'm saying it right. I don't know.
There's a dash in it. It's fine.
In an account that was published in the February 1974 issue of the French UFO journal Lumières dans la Nuit, which I think we talked about in the Green Frogman
I feel like
episode.
we did.
We
It's
did.
Lights in the Night is how it translates. This article was titled Remarkable Encounter at Draguignan, and his description of this next event is as follows. Suddenly, totally independently of any active volition of the driver, the car was thrown off sideways at right angles to the road. And then, by itself as it were, again without any participation by the driver, the car once more came back onto the road, just as though some enormous force had moved it and then brought it back to its original position.
The red pants can use the force.
So
It is the Force.
It is. Yeah.
an
It's the force.
invisible whatever
Right.
jams the car, yanks it at a complete right angle, so it's fucking now perpendicular, crossways across the lane.
Right.
They're terrified. Something moved them. They can't see it. Then all of a sudden, wham!
Back.
Right back.
Okay.
Fucking frightening.
Weird.
Still reeling from this frightening event, as I mentioned, frightening. Georges resumed his course and parked on the outskirts of Draguignan, where he and Christian waited approximately 20 minutes until, to their immense relief, they finally saw Elaine's car coming up the road. Their reunion was brief and heartfelt, and the boys drove into town to tell their friends what they had experienced. Investigators would later conduct interviews with all of the principal witnesses and their friends, who confirmed that when the four men returned from the mountain, their faces were deathly pale. The group convinced the anxious foursome to take their story to the local authorities. But before that happened, haunted by the events and once again proving that he is either the most courageous or foolhardy witness in the history of close encounters, Elaine returned to the mountain alone less than an hour later in the hopes of reestablishing contact or at least procuring some evidence of their run-in with these aliens.
Man, this guy is just in it to win it.
Yeah, he really is. Like, alone.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I can almost see, like, having, like, I think we've all had, like, kind of, not even false courage, but a little more courage if we're in a car with a
Right.
buddy. Like, there was a time Chris and I were in a car, and we were confronted by malevolent paranormal deer.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
were none of the above,
Right.
but they kind of freaked us out the way they were looking at us, and
right.
I was bolstered by Chris's presence.
Yeah.
There you go. Chris gives you strength.
He does.
And then wakes
as
you the
would
fuck
as
out.
well.
Is
I
that
mean-
like a you lift me up type of situation, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Josh Groban
Josh
came
Groban,
out.
He
Yep.
came, yeah, he sang. You guys were
And,
there.
Yeah, we got Grobaned out of this
Nice.
paranormal hell.
All right, good.
But that having been said, I would not have returned to said flock of deer,
Right.
herd of deer. I'm not sure what deer are.
A college of deer.
A college of deer.
There you go.
A murder of deer.
Oh my god! I
Deer.
just don't think it is though.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either.
I think it's a herder of
And
pack.
tell them because they looked at us with, I think, clear malevolence.
Well, you can't trust deer.
You just
we all
you
know
can't.
that.
Right.
They want to gore you.
But we knew that it was deer.
We did know.
If it was like a herd of red
Unknowable.
pants,
So if
Oh
it was
my
a
God,
group of
yeah.
red
Not
pants-
moving.
Like a fucking flock of red pants migrating across a field.
All I can think of is that old MTV video. Like, I can't think of the name, but it had like weird legs going everywhere.
Oh, Rocket.
Rocket.
Yeah,
Bam, bam,
yeah,
bam,
yeah,
bam.
I can't. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. that.
Only 10 seconds we got to pay.
Yeah.
what were you singing?
I wasn't even close to what
Yeah,
how
no,
it
do you
was supposed
remember
to
it all?
be. Yeah.
It's often confused by laymen with the Beverly Hills
Oh,
Cop
Axel F.
theme, but it is not.
Yeah,
Really. They're
weird.
not interchangeable. They're unique and wonderful songs.
They are, and I don't know either of them.
You
Really.
know what? It's funny that you say that because the Rocket pants
Mm-hmm.
were the first thing I thought of, except glowing red.
Right. Okay.
Fucking weird.
All right, weird.
All right.
Red pants. All right.
So Elaine, back up the mountain all alone. By the time Elaine returned to the mountain, the creatures were gone, as was the radiance at the peak. All that remained was a strange scent that reminded Elaine of burnt insulation tape varnish, which hung in the air. Now, that's so fucking specific.
It's very specific, yeah.
You almost have to wonder, like, does he varnish insulation
it's specific,
with tape?
It's definitely specific to his job.
Yeah, it must be. Because that's, I mean, I don't even understand. Like, well, first off, why would you burn it?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess insulation tape makes sense. I've never heard of it, but whatever. But insulation tape varnish?
Weird.
So once you tape the insulation, you
varnish it?
Coat of I don't know how any of that works. Nor do I understand why he made that,
right.
comparison.
But he smelled something up there, so maybe,
But burnt varnish and tape, I
and
guess
we have plenty of different, accounts of possibly alien interactions where people smell weird stuff.
All the time.
Yeah.
A lot of times sulfur, which a lot of people associate with demonic
could be
shit.
the devil.
Which may be where we're going, but it could be a lot of places.
Okay.
All right. Not long after Elaine arrived at the mountaintop, the Draguignan police also arrived at the scene. They explored the path that led down from the summit and discovered what they described as several giant footprints.
Oh, the police confirmed footprints. Okay.
So they say. As well as large stones that had been crushed as if put under tremendous pressure. Perhaps the weight of a hulking robot?
Oh. Okay.
This, my friends, is the incident in Draguignan.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack here.
Oh, so much.
We did, we drew the correlation between Cisco Grove.
Which is uncanny.
Yeah.
Gas masks and robots alone.
Yeah.
But no vapor. But then again, they weren't close enough.
Right.
If Elaine had been treed instead of in a car where he could escape, maybe the vapors would have come.
So I mean, I guess like we always do is our modus operandi here is to look at this a little bit skeptically and be like, okay, what could be mistaken, or what could have happened, or what could have incited this, which is kind of a huge, vague, chasm, I guess, that we're going to cross real quick because there's a lot.
All right.
There's a lot.
It's a chasm.
It's a chasm, whatever.
Can we just do that?
Chasm, fine.
Oh, macabre.
Yes.
Listen, this is my chasm of macabre.
God, this story's pretty macabre.
Bro,
Went to the chasm.
dude.
Oh, you're gonna.
This chasm was totes macabre, bro. Totes. So there's a pretty big fucking gap here, which I'm trying to get to. All right.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, we got these fucking. We got robots. We got gas masks. We got red pants.
We got red pants, which throws the monkey dick in the works, if you will.
Yeah, because you can't even be like, maybe they misidentified something, but then all of a sudden there's a fucking pair of red pants running around being all fucking
all right, so
goofy.
Skeptical first.
I don't even know what.
Full on hoax. Let's just entertain this for a second.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I think this. In fact, I do not think this.
I mean, again, any number of reasons could have led to this being a hoax. Whether it was
Gabriel
just
has
so
another group of friends.
fantastic.
They're a theater troupe. It's France. A lot of people are involved in creative endeavors, and he's like, all right, here's the deal. I'm going to round up other friends. Oh, no. I'm going to be the terrified fucking kid. I'm going to be the Bill Paxton. Game over, man. And so I'm going to lend credibility to the proceedings, while you guys, with your fucking illuminated belt buckles and your cardboard fucking robot suits, lumber down a hill and terrify my friends, thus creating a furor.
That's an even bigger chasm that we have to cross.
Oh, I don't think that's true at all. I'm just saying we're digging deep for fucking skeptical
I just want
ideas.
more reasons to use the word chasm. So.
I love it.
It sounds like a guy's name. What's up, Chasm?
Or Chasm.
Like a coke dealer named Chasm.
Oh, he'd be the worst.
Totally.
The guy's a total douche.
But he's got great ecstasy.
Yeah, sure.
So, all right, hoax, possibly. Doesn't really seem like it's going to lend.
Doesn't explain the pants.
It doesn't explain the pants or the giant footprints that were found. Obviously we can. I guess you should.
Or the UFO and the big bright. I mean, I guess you could get Klieg lights or something on top of the fucking mountain.
It just seems like it's
but
a
that
lot.
seems pricey, and
you gotta get everybody
generator.
Involved. Yeah, you gotta run power.
It seems like a lot of work for a case that really, I mean, it's well known in amongst
circles,
UFO buffs, but it's not like a case that falls off everyone's tongue that is mildly interested in the paranormal.
It just seems like with the 4 people involved, and plus that they had split up into 2 different groups, they both experienced something, obviously out of this quote unquote out of this world.
Plus,
it's a
Gabriel's
lot to
girlfriend
fake.
also saw
Yeah,
the
she saw
fucking-
the glowing,
the glowing
light,
melon with the halo.
It's
Yeah.
a lot to fake.
I agree.
A lot.
I don't think it is a hoax.
No,
I'm going to
no,
go
no,
on
no,
a limb
no.
here and just say I think that whatever happened, regardless of its origins,
Right.
I don't think it was manufactured to pull the wool over
No.
a group of guys that were just clearly fucking around, killing time at a local
Yeah, it
pool hall
doesn't
or
seem
bar
like
or
it's-
wherever the hell they
Yeah.
were, and just got corralled into saying, let's fucking go, let's hit this hill
we
and see what's
can't
up.
necessarily blame this on like alcohol or drugs, which sometimes occasionally we do. But this is probably not that kind of case.
And they seem young. Not to say young people don't have diabetes.
No, man. And,
They
but
do.
In
Yeah.
France,
Well, they could've-
diabetes is rampant.
It
and
could have been
drugs
on
are awesome,
a little
so.
bit of the dope.
Yeah, but I mean,
they
That
could've
doesn't
been
mean they
drinking. They
hallucinated
could've been
it.
on
That just
dope.
means what they saw was
yeah, and that would
slightly
be like a
embellished
group
or whatever.
hallucination where everyone's in the same board with their
Oh
hallucination.
no! I
which
poo-poo
is not
that
gonna
right
happen.
out the gate. Group hallucination is a fucking lie. Mass hysteria is
Yeah.
the go-to for the skeptic that really has nothing logical to refute.
Right.
A compelling yet fucking difficult to believe.
Yeah, mass hysteria is
account.
kind of a tough one to pull off. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
but it's not for religion. It's not.
No,
Well,
no,
for
you're
religion,
absolutely
it's-
right.
No, religion, I get it.
Religious fervor is a whole different thing. So when,
Right.
like in a remote convent in the 1500s, like the Devils of Loudun or whatever,
Right.
when possession mania fucking spreads like wildfire, and it might be combined with corrupted bread with fucking fungus that increases hallucinations and whatnot. Fine, that's a possibility. But four guys, modern era.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It
I'm
sounds
not
like
thinking
it
that.
sounds to me even when the police find the footprints, it sounds to me like something was obviously up there. So, I mean, I guess it leaves us with our classic, the devil, the alien, the ghost, the robot. It's like a whole Scooby Doo.
The devil, hence the fucking new wave Hardy Boys.
Yeah, exactly.
It
And
still
don't
could
forget,
be government.
It could
could
be government. That's true, but don't forget the red pants,
The red pants are
That
so
was,
out of left field.
which could be. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking like maybe like it's something's actually attached to the red pants because it's so dark they can't see it.
Here's the thing about that, though.
Okay.
I know what you're saying.
Right.
But they had it from two very distinct perspectives. One, very close up with headlights bearing directly down on it.
Right.
And they could see beyond.
Right.
To the thickets on either side of the road, the dirt road beyond. So unless it's got like fucking Predator technology
And it's wearing pants.
and it happens to be wearing pants, there's just no way
Well,
that's
you know-
some sort of deceptive camouflage, like wearing a full body black suit with like
Yeah.
I don't know, LED red pants, even though I don't know
Well, they're
what
Hawaiian
was
shorts.
in '73, but
Yeah.
but they would have seen like if it looked like a silhouetted figure with red slacks, they would have said that.
Right. And actually, to me, it sounds like that whatever it was that they saw, they mistook for being pants, but it might be maybe some piece of technology.
That's interesting.
Or something.
Yeah,
that they,
well, absolutely.
Because I really doubt it's a pair of red Dockers. Is that a thing? Do Dockers come in red?
Why not?
Okay, I mean they could,
Why
but I
the
mean,
F
okay,
not?
It's funny
just-
that you say
okay,
that.
so it's not red Levi's. I
My
don't
first
think.
thought too was some sort of automaton, something like
Yeah.
like what we would have for a Mars rover. We would basically build a little tank that's a science lab,
Right,
with
and they
fucking
had
solar
this. They had
panels.
this like weird little walkie
But
thing.
exactly, who knows what
Yeah.
an extraterrestrial civilization is, presumably extraterrestrial,
Right.
might be ultra terrestrial, might be interdimensional, might be fuck all knows,
Hell or space.
But indeed, they might have thought the best way to maneuver, especially on steep hills,
Yeah,
are two things that move basically bipedally.
exactly.
No.
So
And
Well,
so
yeah.
I think you might be right.
That-
I don't
that's a
necessarily think it's
possibility.
glowing ghost pants.
yeah,
I want to
no.
think it's that.
I mean, that would be cool.
I don't know if I do.
You don't want to go?
No, because that means if it's real. If it's real, I don't want to go.
Okay.
I
What
don't want
if
to
it
just look
was-
outside and see walking ghost pants. I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck.
it's kind of weird.
I guess
Yeah,
they're
there
here
is-
now.
Nobody needs that.
Yeah.
I guess the time has come. The prophecy is nigh.
I'm dealing with this now.
But how fucking awesome and fucked up would it be if it was completely unrelated?
Just
like an entirely different paranormal phenomenon.
just
like
happening.
there's an extraterrestrial close encounter happening, and at the same moment,
Right.
fucking Johnny Red's ghost pants
but it very well
lumber
could,
across
it
the
very
road.
well could be.
It could be,
You're right.
yeah.
The pants could be from the glowy thing, and the other thing is the government. We do that a lot. Like you see a thing, and then you see these things after, and they could be.
No, you said the government a couple times.
I always
Well,
do
no,
the
I know,
government.
but what? How do you mean
Chris Jones? What's
that
going
the
on over here?
that the
I don't
two
know.
robotic
I have no idea.
9 foot tall
No idea.
entities and the 1 6 foot guy
Okay,
with
well-
the gas mask in the fucking mobile veil?
I'll
Yeah.
take the.
How is that like the French government?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The American, any government. How is that a
Sure.
government thing?
Well, we talked about the
I don't
French
know.
government with our little French frogmen.
that sounds condescending somehow. Why are you dissing on the frogmen?
Because they were little tiny French frogmen with little cool little helmets.
That's true.
Could have been a slave army. Could have been
Oh my
something
God!
left
All right.
over.
Entertain this.
Uh-oh.
What if the frogmen had larger suits, sort of like Hulkbuster armor for Iron Man?
Oh,
could
see?
be.
And that
See?
fucking the gentleman that saw the frogmen just saw them with their squarish helmets.
Right. Could be.
But once they plug their bodies into the full
The mech.
bulky
Yeah.
mega
Yeah,
mech,
There you
Max.
go. I was thinking mech.
See?
Actually, well, I was thinking mech. I'm like, not like a full on like Gundam size mech or something like that, but maybe something like a little bit smaller.
a key
you know?
difference though is the little green frogmen had squarish helmets with round eyes,
It's true.
while the Draguignan,
Yeah.
besides being 9 foot tall
Right.
and whatever, had rectangular
I mean,
apertures.
one of
Yeah.
my favorite
Well, it's
go-tos.
Armor 2.0.
yeah, you're right. It could have been an upgrade.
One of my favorite go-tos is the misinterpreted military maneuver. That this is
Again,
somehow.
explain how this is a 3-person,
Yeah.
bizarrely dressed,
Dude,
illuminated mountaintop.
Who
like
knows
what? No,
what-
but you say that, and I literally demand you give some semblance of an explanation.
I'm just saying, what if there is some form of the French government, much like our own, with a big giant black op budget, and they just happen to be working on tech at the what was this, the 70s this happened, right?
73.
So they just happen to be working on some tech at the time, and they're just out there again doing military maneuvers, and
So wait, like-
everything
like-
gets misinterpreted.
Protective radiation suits while
Who
they're
knows, dude? Who knows? It's the French government.
Dude, it's the 70s, man.
Much like
It's
the
France.
U.S., you can't trust the government that you are currently living under.
listen.
You can't.
I'm not taking umbrage with that philosophically. What I'm saying is just saying it could be the government and just letting it lay there.
Well, yeah.
Is just fucking
Well,
idiotic.
no, I said misinterpreted military maneuver, insinuating this has to do with the French military. Just putting it out there. Not saying that I'm not trying to dash your hopes and dreams of a world full of red pants.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I'm
could
here to be your
never do
friend.
that.
I'm here to be your friend.
I need a little more substance from the both of you about how this in any way helps a government and what they could
Maybe
be doing.
it doesn't help. Maybe
what the
it doesn't
agenda
at all.
is.
Well, no, I don't think that they're specifically
why
targeting.
they're wearing 9 foot tall armor.
I don't think that they're specifically targeting the kids. I'm saying that maybe it's one of those coincidences where the military's doing some maneuvers, and then all of a sudden the kids happen to come across, and they're like, "Oh shit, the fuck is this? You got red pants. People are in cars. Shit gets crazy.
Yeah.
All right,
Next thing you know,
I mean, red
there you
pants
go.
is just as you can't really throw an explanation out there for red pants
you
either.
can't.
There's the same amount of evidence.
Well, it's the government. I mean, clearly, I'm on board now.
Well, the government is just as valid as saying it's a ghost.
Yeah,
It is
or a demon, or the aliens.
exactly the same
I don't
thing.
know if it's just as
It
valid.
is. It's same evidence.
No,
just to
well,
say
no,
none.
the reason it's not is because let me explain to you why it's not. The reason it's not is that we have context for what a government does. The kind of uniforms and armor, military armor, the kind of
that you know
maneuvers they
of.
do. You're right. I'm not saying that we know of everything they do, but none of this seems to like fit into a context of any known
No, I mean,
military maneuver
Well, yeah.
that has ever been,
right.
Sure,
right.
which is to say that's
which is why I
non-evidence.
say it makes it a little less likely than something inexplicable because everything. Oh no.
I feel like
Come
that's
on.
the opposite of evidence.
No, I disagree because random red.
No, you're wrong.
No, random red pants. I'm absolutely right. Moving around the street. That lends itself not towards clandestine government operations, but something inexplicable.
Well, nobody said that either.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't say they both didn't have validity. I just said that is less valid because at least we have a context for what Earth militaries do.
Right.
We have no context for what
that
aliens or interdimensionals do. Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody knows unless they're in that. But we know militaries exist.
Right.
We know they do clandestine things.
But then you might as well say it's fucking what happens when coral grows up. They fucking walk around the French countryside. I mean, you could say anything because coral is real, ergo it could happen.
That's what we do.
Coral
we say anything.
From like The Walking Dead?
No, coral like from the fucking barrier reef.
Coral. You didn't get
Coral.
it. Never mind. I was trying to break up. I was trying to break it in with a little joke, trying to bring the tension down here, Mr. Anti-Government Antifa.
I'm just saying.
Antifa Rob Morphy.
Can we be done with these fucking
Yes.
your non-based on anything government
we
explanation?
always put it out there just because. I think we even put it out there with Cisco Grove.
Fair enough.
I think that we did.
We put everything out there. There's no evidence.
Yeah,
for
we
it.
always put non-evidence things out there. Look, dude, I'm going towards alien.
At least you guys haven't said fucking blimp yet.
Well, yeah.
No,
Thank God.
well, I think it's a stork, really, but
A stork?
Oh my God.
you're just like
the Red Panther a stork?
It's a red stork.
We were together on the military maneuver.
I went
Then we
rogue.
split with
I just went rogue.
Yeah, you did. You went rogue.
The stork with a baby. You can't see the baby.
Oh no! Is it delivering a baby? Is that
Yeah.
how babies are born? Oh no. So I think, though, personally, coming from this, obviously, I'm not going to go down interdimensional or ultra-terrestrial because I think I do that a little bit too often, and there isn't really any.
There's no reason to or not to.
I know, but we're just going to encapsulate that by saying alien.
Well, in all fairness, this has a distinct UFO.
Right.
Comes from the sky.
Yeah.
Lands.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Red light. Belted,
we do
9-foot tall creature, whatever,
Right.
comes from said light.
Yeah, and we do have, of course,
Yeah.
the Cisco Grove incident, which kind of ties into this, too. It gives us a little bit of context for these groups of
And I've never heard
possible
anyone make that
aliens.
association before. Not to say, like, oh my God, we just blew this case out of the
Oh,
water.
no, we just did.
But it's
We're the
fucking
first.
interesting.
Yeah, this is it. Kryptonaut Podcast, episode number 70, whatever.
Mark your calendars.
That's right. Editors know we just made this connection no one else ever did.
I do love, though. I really do love. I mean, I know we've talked about ultra-terrestrials ad infinitum and the idea that they're just here to fuck with our
tricksters,
minds and thrive on our fear or whatever the alternate theories are. But the idea of something interdimensional, or not even necessarily interdimensional, that idea, especially that Jacques Vallée espouses and Keel and others, that we share our world with other intelligent species. Not even necessarily living in parallel worlds, but like... Or maybe they do kind of live in like folded areas, like sort of, I don't know, folded areas is a weird way to put it, but like
I
a
get
place
what
that's
you're
sort
saying,
of like invisible until you catch it at the right angle.
Right.
And,
Kind of like what we thought maybe Varenish and or the, are you waving to somebody behind me that's not there?
I got nervous for a second. I'm like,
yeah,
what are
I
you
got
doing?
nervous too, because there's nothing over there, Rob. It's a fucking wall.
I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt.
You waved
and I was
at the wall, and I thought it was a ghost.
I was just trying to
We all did.
make
Did
the
you get
sleeve
scared?
go back
We
up.
all did.
I got scared.
I have to shit now. No, I seriously do. But
I was just being
I'll hold
lazy
it.
about pulling up my sleeve. That's
Jesus,
all I was doing.
I thought you were waving to someone, and I really, for a second, I'm like, who the fuck
There's
is behind?
not. It's brick. Or fucking,
There's a skull.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe saw through the window. You're waving at the deer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Having a good time.
I really got scared.
Jesus.
We're in depth conversation about pants and aliens and shit, and you're waving to things that aren't fucking
Yeah,
there, man. Get your shit together.
You're a
so
shill for the
sorry.
paranormal, waving at him.
Damn it.
Clearly, I am
Paranormal
that.
shill.
Fuck. All right,
Anyhow.
back on track.
I love
Sort of.
the idea that we do. I don't just love it.
I'm sorry,
I find it compelling that we share this world with other intelligent creatures, not necessarily other branches of the human race either. I mean,
Right,
obviously,
right.
we know that we used to share the Earth with many other, proto-humans
Before we killed them all, yeah.
Yeah, the hobbits, Neanderthal, on and on. And there's probably going to be more and more discoveries that we both bred with and basically murdered
Right.
the rest
Yeah.
of our cousins.
Well, that's what we do.
But I don't think it's necessarily that. I mean, there's really good cases to be made. We want to dismiss the fantasy stuff very easily, like fairies and elves and goblins and whatnot. But I think there are really compelling cases to be made, especially in the pre-UFO days, for interactions with these creatures, which are very much like extraterrestrial interactions nowadays. Occurring not necessarily with a great deal of frequency, but enough so that there's a real pattern established with our species and theirs, and that we occupy the same basic if not geographic, temporal space.
But we can ultimately encompass that with the entire alien thing, not being necessarily from another planet, but alien in the sense of the alien to our world.
Absolutely.
So,
alien,
in that
alien
sense,
is like an alien big cat, like
a
giant fucking cougar
But I was
is
thinking
not supposed to
too,
be in Britain.
I was thinking too with like Varenish,
right.
Cisco Grove,
Yeah.
and Casablanca.
Yeah.
There's a couple of instances that come to mind where it's like, okay, maybe these could be things, maybe like you said, folding or whatever, crossing over interdimensionally or whatever you want to call it. Speaking, I think this one possibly could fall into that category, but there is the sort of a UFO thing, but not really.
Well, I mean, it is a UFO.
It is. I mean,
it is unidentified and it flies.
Even though, it's, weird size of a melon or whatever because of distance. So, I mean, I guess I'm gonna take the tact that something was in fact there. This did in fact happen, but I do think that the red pants are just, it's not an actual pair of like red Levi's.
I agree with that. I think there's more going on there. I don't think that's spectral. I don't think, I do believe, though it might be just me wanting to make a pattern, that it is related to the greater scheme of what's happening.
Well, I think we have to kind of say that's related.
It really does seem to be.
We don't have to, but
in
I know.
pursuit of, or at least observing, Georges and Christian, because it's there the first time. It interrupts their journey. The car's electronics die, which is something very common in UFO interactions with vehicles. Like the power goes out, the engines die. Yeah. And they're lucky it started back up, but then it comes back. Maybe it was not able to finish the job. Maybe it was an attempted abduction, and there's every reason to assume it was. As much as I mean, I'm not going to get deep into the theories, but I really am much more inclined. Not that I think Carl Sagan was necessarily right. I think it's very arrogant for human beings to say just because we don't have the technology to traverse, the stars that no other species do. I think absolutely other species do. I mean, look at what we've achieved in the last fucking century. If you can imagine what we would do with another million years of evolution. But I do tend to think a lot of these things maybe are from here, but regardless, they are fundamentally alien to our species. Okay. And I really think Elaine was taking his and Gabriel's life in his fucking hands when he kept going back up the mountain. And I think it's a pile of fucking aliens, mostly robots, that were there for whatever purpose, but probably to grab some peeps, and that they got really fucking lucky.
Yeah, I think I'm all going to go along the same lines as you here.
Alien.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's between what the police officers found, what the two separate groups of people experienced. I think there's definitely something up there. Clearly not of this world.
And I'm sure there were other people that probably saw the lights. Right. I mean, all I have is Gordon Creighton, the great, Gordon Creighton, who translated from the, Lights in the Night or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yep. He translated it for Flying Saucer Review, as he often does, and there's a great cachet of that on the internet. And so, you find these articles and you do as much corroborating research as you can, fucking, half a century later, but unfortunately, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. Right. I wish there was a couple pictures, at least of the footprint.
There are a lot of really good illustrations. I actually sent some of them to Mark of the actual, of the robots and whatnot based on the eyewitness descriptions. But you're right. Genuine photographs of the scene, and of the alleged evidence would really come in handy.
I'm going to say something definitely happened, and I'm going to go with the alien angle, whether it be out of this world and or of this world, but of a different dimension.
Do you think robots or organics or combination?
There's not really enough evidence there for anything.
No, but it seems like it could be a combo. I really feel like the pants are some sort of tech.
The pants are definitely tech.
The pants have to be tech.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's a...
But the 9-foot tall square heads, that could really... I mean, as much as I've been calling them robots nonstop and they were moving jerky, well, if you looked at a fucking astronaut, an Apollo astronaut on the moon, they're not exactly fucking Baryshnikov.
Yeah. Good sir, alleged moon? Thank you.
Oh, now we're back to alleged moon.
Yeah, we've never left alleged moon.
No, you were
the alleged Apollo.
You were a moonist a couple pods ago.
I mean, you can't deny the Apollo program took place.
So, Chris, with your take on it being possibly government involvement, do you still feeling that way, or are you going to go the way of the alien?
I didn't say I believed it. I just kind of threw that out there.
Okay, no, I did too. I was.
I was not asserting that.
Okay.
But it does feel. I mean, it does feel alien-y, and
Okay.
there's some tech and there's some bots, possible bots,
And a
possible,
UFO. Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, it has all the earmarks. We kind of said this with
it does.
Flatwoods too.
It does.
I mean, it's something comes from the sky. It's a non-human entity that might be semi-robotic in that case, and in this case, it might be organic, and people are terrified by it. I mean, it really does. It has all of the hallmarks of a human alien close encounter of the third kind.
All right, cool. Well, there you have it. Be sure to hit us up and let us know what your theories on this are. Send us any more information that you may have on this. Social medias, hit us up there. Stick around. We got some ratings and reviews for the podcast. You can leave those at the iTunes and Apple Podcast apps. We have pins for sale, Robert.
We
and
sure
Christopher.
do.
They are for sale currently at podcast.bigcartel.com. The link will be in the description of this podcast. TeePublic, go grab some T-shirts. A lot of orders this month. A lot of orders.
Dang.
We appreciate all the support.
Oh my God, we do.
Especially the orders. It's really cool.
Oh, maybe we got a new shirt in the works. The old Red Slacks Brigade.
Just a pair of red pants.
Yeah, there you go.
Do it like one of those old, not terrorists, but like fucking like youth protest group organizations from that era.
Nice.
With the running red slacks as their
red
emblem.
slacks.
Really? Just what the hell am I?
Seriously, the fuck am I?
So yeah, all the links for that will all be in the description of this podcast. Check it out there. That's it, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.
Big old fucking robots.
Big old robot.
In France.
Red pants.
Space
France.
pants.
Draguignan.
Oh, yeah.
Space pants. Hell or space pants.
Evil mountains, dragons,
Yeah,
space
dude.
pants.
I mean, really, if you think about it, this is the site that something would happen.
Oh, God, yeah.
100%.
It's fucking called,
It's called
Evil
Evil
Mountain.
Mountain. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, who the fuck? Why? Why is it called
Yeah, I
that?
think the Japanese named it.
Is there a band
Truly.
named Evil Mountain?
There should be.
There is now.
There's now,
bitch.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Memo.
I was excited.
Can that be our new grind band that never happens?
Evil Mountain. Yeah.
What confuses
cool.
me is why this case is
A
named after
bi-monthly grind
the
band.
nearby city of Draguignan.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they had a big dragon battle there in fucking
Yeah,
Saint
evil dragon,
Hermantaine
evil.
or whatever his name is.
Hermantaine, that's his name.
Whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
it
no,
is.
that was it.
You
He
know,
was a saint, for Christ's
all
sake.
of that is good and well, but why isn't it fucking the Evil Mountain Entities? Why
I
are they not
don't
know. Yeah.
specifically associated?
Draguignan. With Le Mans.
I mean, that's a fun word to say. Don't get me wrong.
Totally. And my French
For that
sucks.
alone, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, totally.
We'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.
Fucking yeah, right on.
Escape from Evil Mountain.
Oh, red robots galore.
See it. All right, cool. Thank you for sticking around for the ratings and reviews. Getting started here from the iTunes and Apple Podcast apps. Seriously, guys, with the language, 5 stars, Jason Ortiz.
Oh, God, here we go.
Love the show, but the cursing, ... There isn't enough of it.
Oh,
it's a dupe.
The
We got
Dupenham.
The
Shyamalan.
topics are great. Rob and Chris are great. Mark, well, he's okay, I guess.
Oh, that's hurtful.
But in all seriousness, this show is absolutely amazing week after week. I got into it later on episode 30 or so, but went back to binge every episode. Keep on keeping on and continue the Lord's work. Oh, and by the way, Flatwoods monster equals Space Owl.
Oh, God.
Well,
damn it.
that's
All
true.
right, fair enough. I agree with the Space Owl. Thank you for the sweet profanity dupe. But Mark is also great.
Well, Mark-
let us be clear
Mark's
about that.
got something coming up, and this is.
Oh.
You continue. We're gonna get to this. This is pretty good.
All right, I'm gonna travel now to the land of Facebook.
Oh, my favorite. Nah.
This is Ash T.
Ash T. All right, what up, Ash T?
Such a truly delightful podcast to listen to. I've been a huge fan of cryptids, UFOs, creepy things, and ghosts since I was 8 years old. I somehow found a book about cryptids in my elementary school library, as did I, for the record,
Sweet.
and it also talked about the hollow earth, which I love. So, Ash, I'm with you
Was
completely.
the alleged moon mentioned in this book?
God damn you.
All right,
I'm not
good.
going to talk about that.
Moon is
And I
fake.
have been in love ever since. This podcast has rekindled my obsession with the weird and unexplained. Awesome.
That's cool. Sweet. Well, thank you.
I normally listen while doing makeup in the morning, on my commute to work, and on my lunch breaks. It's safe to say I adore these men and their work greatly. Please keep up the podcast because I truly value the laughs and research I have every day. Hopefully, I'll get to meet all of you one day.
Well, that's
No
awesome.
shit.
Thank you, Ash.
Well, here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, Ash.
I mean, we live in a
Shit.
small world. I mean,
Yeah, just bring cookies, because if you don't, then...
Yeah,
oh
Chris,
yeah, no, the meeting will not go well.
I
mean, Mark and I are going to be cool, but you lost Chris the moment you don't have
I'm
cookies.
happy
Yeah.
just to say hello and thank you for your support. We 100%.
No, there's a store
absolutely.
by my door in case you don't bring cookies.
Oh
Jesus,
boy!
wow.
Hey Ash, thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
awesome, and the fact that we helped rekindle.
Yeah, that's great.
A
the
love of
rekindling.
weird.
Totally.
I've always wanted to rekindle something.
Yeah, same here. Normally, I just unkindle shit. I just put it out.
No, I'm an extinguisher.
The unkindling.
Usually, oh, you know how I used to like men?
Yeah.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, I used to trust people. Thanks, Mark.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, there you go. All
cold.
right. Here we go. New favorite show, 5 stars from Sandor Idiot. Seriously love this show. It appeals to both us cryptid nerds and non-believers. Mark is by far leaps and bounds the star of the show.
Hands down.
In fact, when I talk about the show with my friends, I refer to it as the Mark Show. Keep up the awesome work.
The Mark Show.
Depths of the Marianas Trench to the heights of Everest.
When I read
The
this review,
Mark
I'm like,
Show.
they are not going to believe this.
Oh
This is
my
fucking
God!
funny.
So when did you write that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You guys gotta hear the
exactly.
Mark Show.
Dude, I fucking read that. I'm like, oh my God, I am not. First of all, thank you, obviously, for the review. We appreciate
Oh my
it.
God.
But, I mean, Christ, if this is just me, you know how terrible that would be?
Not at all.
God, it would just be me talking about how the moon's
Somebody
not
really-
real.
somebody
That's
really
all I'd be
likes you.
talking about. I'm like, the
Obviously,
moon's not
Chris
real.
and I are big fans of you too.
Yeah.
Well,
Duh.
I would not.
You're the heart and soul.
I would not. This show would not exist, and I would not be me without you two. So thank you very much. So
Well, we
there
sure
you go.
wouldn't be doing a podcast.
No.
That's true. We wouldn't do whatever.
No, Chris and I would not be doing
We
this.
eat fucking donuts and watch Japanese
That's all
shit.
we would
Like,
be doing nonstop.
See, I'm
communicating with
bringing it
just each other.
Thank you very much for the review. That the Mark Show is kind of funny. I
It's fucking hilarious.
The Mark Show.
oh man.
Oh shit! All right,
The
Rob,
next
what do we got?
review comes from Jeanette. All right, let me try this last name. Pamelayan. I think I got it right.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Just found out about this podcast from a mention in STM. Fucking awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think I'm hooked. Lighthearted, funny, yet thought-provoking. Already listened to 5 episodes. Thoroughly enjoyed them. Great job.
All right. Well, cool. Thank you very
Sweet.
much. Thank you. Moving on here. Ostensibly my favorite podcast. 5 stars from Vizgurmlich.
Oh,
Don't know how to say
I like that it's
Wow.
ostensibly. Like,
Vizgurmlich.
apparently,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, when you look at it from a distance,
Totally.
this might well be my favorite podcast.
They go on to say here, they had me at Quadrasquatch. Endless entertainment with no fewer than 1 episode per week. I can't stop binging. Hashtag space is 2 miles up. Hashtag baby teeth jalopy. Hashtag burnt sausage and ether.
Oh,
I like
fucking
God.
awesome.
the space is 2 miles up is a perfect pull.
Yeah.
Totes. At one point, for those of you that might not have heard that episode or that might have missed it, we were trying to determine how many miles up from Earth space was. I think I said 3 or something like that.
Yeah, no, we were going
my
anywhere from like
God.
150 feet to 375.
Yeah, I'm like, no, man, space is like not even. Well, hashtag space
Yeah,
is fake.
it's
It's not
just a
even
couple
there.
miles.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, you can
It's not
fly a
that-
kite into space.
Yeah,
Easy.
yeah.
Totally.
Easy
You can
peasy.
totally do it. All right, Rob, what do
All
we
right,
got?
the last review I have is from Jay Rice. And this is just 3 hours old.
Oh, wow.
Fresh,
Whoa.
hot off the virtual presses.
Nice.
There's humor and randomness and much more. I've been listening to them for a while and look forward to their podcast episodes to be released. I've been doing podcasts for a bit now, but I'm nowhere near close to being as successful as these 3 bros.
Bros.
Love it. If you're ever on CastBox, check out this podcast, Mr. Creepy's Neighborhood, and if you're on Podbean, check out this podcast, The Mr. Creepy Gentleman Show.
Okay.
Thanks for mentioning my podcast, LOL.
Nice little
Way to
slide
sneak in your
there. I like
plugs.
it.
Yeah.
Respect.
Well done.
Respect.
But if I could give a star rating on here, I would break the rating scale completely. Also, hashtag that fucking tomato.
Okay, cool.
I'm
I like
trying,
it.
and this is it. I'm trying to make that trend LOL. I got it on my podcast pages on here, but yeah, LOL. Sorry to ramble, and I can't wait for your next episode. Well, thank you, Mr.
Thanks.
Rice.
Yeah, thank you. And those podcasts, check them out. I said Castbox or whatever.
Yeah,
those
definitely.
Castbox, check 'em out.
Mr. Creepy's Neighborhood and the Creepy Gentleman Show.
Yeah, dude.
I'll definitely check it out.
Totally. All right,
Good shit. Thanks for liking us.
Last review here from iTunes, just like old friends. 5 stars from Tara and Paul. Listening to Kryptonaut is great fun. Just like sitting and catching up with old mates with a drink or 10. Funny, thorough, informative, and very well read. Listening from Western Australia, so technically from the future, Paul B.
Nice.
Totally
it is the
from
future.
fucking
Awesome. Yeah,
we
what's
just
up?
fucking did a Western Australia one. The goblin there. I'm not gonna remember.
Oh, yeah.
The Mandura or something goblin.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
that's
in our
right.
fucking
Our
double bag mystery
double
Monday.
feature-
Oh, the
Double
goblin.
feature picture show.
Two-fisted,
Yeah,
twin testicle,
mother approved.
Yeah,
it's a
just hanging out on a
testicle.
beach.
What?
I just try. I'll never remember.
Okay.
I'll never ever fucking remember. But I do know this. There's goblins in Western Australia.
You know what it is? And I just remembered the 2-for-1 mystery bag Monday.
2 for
2-for-1.
Not the twin testicle double barreled.
Yeah, what?
13
Oh my God, barrel aged.
IROC Z. There you go.
I have
pulled
just
that out of
the
nowhere.
shittiest memory. I don't know why.
You know what? That is our ratings and reviews for the week.
And thank you all.
Thank you all.
Excellent.
I mean, like I said, it helps us a ton, but it also really, it just makes us feel good.
Yeah,
it gets us
a good
through
little
the
morale
week.
boost. We enjoy it, and obviously it helps us out with the charts and iTunes, and of course the Facebook recommendations are always cool too. There's a ton of them there, so keep those coming, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
You
See you next
rekindle
time
us.
on the Mark Show.
You rekindle us.
Goodbye,
We won't. I will try not to extinguish anybody.
Mark. The Mark Show. Mark.
Mark all the time. 100% Mark.
Oh God, what a terrible world that would be. All right, we're talking to you.
Mark.
See ya.